Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. Thank you for tuning into another Supatease video. We're going to be doing an episode of Reddit Roundup. What are the biggest and most pressing issues in World of Warcraft PvP, according to you and your posts on Reddit? We're also going to be looking at some of the positive things that are going on as well with this current season, because it's very easy to just fall into this infinite loop of doom and gloom, but there are actually some positives that you really want to be taking advantage of this season that typically haven't presented themselves in any other season. And if you want to make sure that you're staying up to date with news related to World of Warcraft, educational and entertaining content, then make sure to smash that subscribe button. Your support is greatly appreciated on my journey towards 100,000 subscribers. So thank you guys very much for your continued support. The first post we've got here is from Affectionate Drop 62, and he says, "This is depressing," and has attached a screenshot of a random Battleground queue time being around an average wait time of 14 minutes, while also only being in queue for 1 minute. Now, this post is perhaps a little bit misleading. Sometimes the average wait times are completely incorrect, and this queue may have actually popped much sooner than this, and also depending on the time of day that you queue, depending on what region you're in, because obviously at least I would believe Random Battleground is likely the highest participated bracket in the game, but it does have some issues that are highlighted in the comment section that are definitely worth warranting and worth actioning, I think, on Blizzard's part. They've said that they've tried to address it. Obviously, some of the posters here are pointing out similar things to me based on the server time. The queues are fine once you actually are in more of kind of a prime time server time queue. But the main issue facing Random Battlegrounds and facing the average player in the game is queue syncing, where a group of players all deliberately try to get their queue to pop at the same time to get in the same game together so that they can play as a pre-made team versus a completely random team. And this experience is basically the equivalent of smurfing in other games like League of Legends, and is actually a bannable offense, and to me is completely ruining this bracket, as outlined by many comments throughout this Reddit post. And it's something that Blizzard said they were going to be dealing with and actioning, especially in relations to epic battlegrounds, where there's a new epic battleground, and it's like this is just getting ruined because players are queue syncing. And queue syncing has existed in the past for PvP. There was I think it was called Alteric Valley Enabler, or AV Enabler, back in TBC. But back in TBC, they were very quick to shut that down and prevent players from queue syncing because it completely rigs the matches. There's just no chance for 40 random people to beat 40 coordinated people, and probably close to fully geared people as well. There's just no hope. So the whole point of the Random Battleground system is it's just kind of like a casual, no sweat environment where not everybody really even knows what's going on, and they're just chilling and vibing, right? I think of it like a high school dodgeball game, right? Like maybe one guy knows what he's doing, but imagine an entire team of pro dodgeball players versus the kids in high school. It's not going to be a fun experience for the kids in high school, and it's definitely ruining the experience. It isn't to say that this bracket's completely dead, as outlined by these other posters. If you're still playing during prime time, your queues are still likely going to be hot. But the active queue syncing in the pre-mades is something that I don't know if they think they addressed it, but obviously not, because people are still bringing it up as an ongoing issue. And I think it's going to be a major thorn in the side and potential of just Battleground content for the average player. So I do hope that Blizzard addresses it. Let me know in the comments down below if you've had that experience doing Random Battlegrounds, or it just feels like you're fighting pre-mades and it's just impossible to really do anything. Another issue outlined here on Reddit by the community here from Johan Awesome is that the amount of spell effects is horrible. So I think what they're addressing here is the unicorn vomit, I think, is a term that's referred to in game design, where there's just so many spell animations on the screen. I think in the case of World of Warcraft, also so many pets, right? We've got pets on pets on pets, and classes that didn't have pets now summon random pets, and there's just health bars everywhere. And the default settings for removing that it's not very easily apparent. There are settings to like lower down spell density and things like this, but they're not enabled by default. You got to go through a list of menus in order to get to those to remove them. And I feel like, the new player experience for jumping in for the first time is likely like, oh my God, there's so much on my screen, right? Sometimes less is more. And I definitely think that that's a component that has become bloated, which is just spell animations, visuals, and pets. It's one of those things where it's like, okay, new expansion, we have to add stuff. Okay, but we can't add new keybinds because then there's gonna get too complicated. So let's just add a new layer of passives and a new layer of pets, and then 5 expansions down the road, now I've got 6 Zwens and Yulongs and 18 ghouls and abominations and gargoyles and ghoulies and things like that. And it's something that honestly feels influenced possibly from like Diablo game design. But the thing in Diablo is that you're, for the most part, a solo player, and it's like so when you're one player and you're seeing all your monsters get summoned on the screen and overrunning them, it feels cool and it fits in that environment. But when you join group content with 5 to 10 to 25 to 40, even 3 players in some cases, it's just like, whoa, the screen just gets completely overwhelmed. So while it's an element of great game design for action RPGs, which are typically solo play, in an MMORPG environment, this level of visuals and pets, I can agree with, is definitely overwhelming. It's something that I do think is nice about Classic WoW, although I'm not the biggest Classic WoW aficionado, if that's a word for it. I do think there are advantages to just looking at like, oh God, a fireball and it went out and the health bar moved, and you can clearly indicate and see like what is going on, as opposed to just like the infinite splinters coming off and all these other different animations. And it's something that I don't know, like we saw them do a great prune, right? They brought the abilities down, but the animations are still very much so over the top, and a lot of visuals are just like completely unnoticeable. You can't really tell exactly what's going on, let alone in relations to its impact to overall throughput. So this is something that I do hope that they will look at. Maybe they don't see it as a big issue, but obviously over here on Reddit, and I do agree with you guys on Reddit that I do see this as a big issue at the moment, not even just facing PvP, but also in Mythic Plus. I've seen meme videos of people in Mythic Plus, like I can't even tell what's on my screen. There's a monk spinning crane kicking with 10 DK pets and things like that. So to me, this is like a game-wide issue. So maybe it is something they'll look at. Maybe there's World of Warcraft 2 around the corner. I don't know. And maybe that's a way for them to bring down all the animations and return back to something more basic and more simple. The best example I can give being a musician is that when you're a musician and you advance your skills and you're playing more and more complicated stuff, it becomes more unrelatable to the listener, right? It's like avant-garde jazz, right? For the musician, it's very expressive and cool because you're playing at the highest level of complexity. But for the listener and the consumer, it's just like completely overwhelming and almost just noise. That's what's going on right now in game design, is that it just feels like it's getting bloated. Maybe it's really fun for the game designer, but for the person who's consuming it, it just ends up being too much, right? That's the best example I can give. But on a more positive note here with this update is that we have players getting their first gladiator in 4 years. It's an awesome season. They admit to playing Rogue Mage Priest. I'm glad you could admit to not being natty. A lot of people out there can't do that. They can't admit to being enhanced, but I think this is really good for the game. I think the inflation that they've put in has been working really well. This is going to be the best season to get like elite sets, if you want to get weapon glow enchants, if you want to go for the gladiator mount. Even the gladiator mount has been very inaccessible for a long time, and I think it's way too gate kept. I think it's like less than 0.5% of the accounts in World of Warcraft end up getting a gladiator mount. And the thing is that there's so much to do in WoW every season, so many collectibles to get. If you want to get this one, it pretty much takes 100% of your playtime. So you miss out on all the other ones. So it's like no wonder PvP participation is going down, because when you're just mathing it out, like I could get 10 mounts from this World Quest content and dungeons and stuff in one season versus just one mount from PvP, because it takes that much time and effort to be able to get it. Everyone's going to choose the other rewards because there's way more of them. So I think by making more people able to get Gladiator, get a sick looking mount from PvP, people will likely come back and be like, okay, maybe it's not a waste of my time. I can actually get that done and still get the other things done that I want for my account throughout the season. So I think this is a very good thing that they've done, that they've improved. I wish that it was there at the launch. I think that a lot of people did get turned off at the launch, but I am glad that it is here now, and I think it's important that we spread the word about it being here now, because it wasn't here at the launch, but now it is. So if you want to go for a really cool looking Gladiator mount this season, hopefully they keep it the same for future seasons, this is like the time to play, basically. And I've been making videos as well covering the balance of the game currently. It's getting into a much better spot than it was, especially for like ladder gameplay. Obviously Mage is still a little bit egregious here. Maybe we'll see some class changes on Friday. If there are, I'll relay them to you here on the channel. But overall, my point is that you can actually get the rewards. They're not impossible to get like they have been in other seasons, to where people would give up and quit. So I would highly recommend it. I've got videos on my channel here. I'll have one linked at the end of this one for like the best compositions. So if you're going and building your team to go for Gladiator, what specs should you be trying to have an easier ride? I'll have that video linked here at the end of this one. And then the final post here from the Reddit roundup is, I got feared out of the map in 3v3, and he's got a screenshot of Maldraxxus Arena, and he's got feared through the corner wall of the map. I think this is increasingly a big issue, because I don't know what's going on that's causing this. But like so many maps, like this happened way back when in Wrath of Lich King in Ring of Valor, where the elevator pillars that would go up and down, you could get feared underneath them and get stuck. Or in Runes of Lordaeron, you get feared behind statues in the starting room and get stuck. And they completely rebuilt those maps or turned them off because of those issues, right? Like Blades Edge Arena is turned off because you can get thunderstormed through the ground and fall through it. And it just feels like more and more maps, this is happening. And I just don't know what's going on. Like, why are there more and more maps? It's happening in Battlegrounds with Evokers, with Sleepwalk and knockbacks, like Eye of the Storm and getting knocked through the floor. They removed all of the knockbacks from the game as a part of the crowd control disarmament, and indirectly kind of helped a bit with getting knocked through a lot of these maps. But it's just like, what exactly is going on that this is happening? Because now if it's happening with fear on more things, like, I mean, eventually, what, you're just going to turn all the maps off? I don't understand what's happening here. And I do think that the bugs, like the increasing volume of bugs, as noted with this most recent patch, is alarming. I think I did see them posting that they're doing more hiring. Hopefully they can do more hiring to deal with this, to sort this out, because it feels like the bugs are one of the biggest things holding back the potential of the game, right? The queue syncing, the lag in Epic Battlegrounds, and then getting knocked to the floor or feared out of the map and this type of stuff. It's a very frustrating experience, right? Because you've queued up, sat through the queue, and then this happens and you're just like completely frustrated at that point, right? It doesn't happen too much in Mythic Plus, though. Maybe if they added some mobs that have knockbacks and fears, maybe it would start happening, and maybe someone can design a monster that does a fear knock and someone gets punted through the floor of the dungeon and then it can get solved. I don't know. But it's definitely a big issue facing PvP, at least at the moment. And obviously, this is something that I just hope gets sorted out, but you should probably be aware of it, that apparently you can get feared and clipped through the wall. So if someone's chasing you for a fear, you might want to avoid moving near the perimeter of a given map. But other than that, thank you guys very much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next one.